Southern Baptists of Texas and the Southern Baptists of the United States have very specific standards on what they want sent as a missionary because they realize the pressure that's going to be on them. They realize that there's not going to be any available help. They're going to have to be able to be self-sustaining. So they're quite rigid, seemingly unfairly rigid, but they're quite rigid about what they will sponsor to go and live in a foreign country and have to learn a foreign culture and language. This couple had surrendered to go. They were ready to go, and somebody in the board had said, "Have you ever led anyone to Christ before?" And the wife said, "No, I haven't." And they had to tell her, "You can't go. I'm sorry. We're not sending people overseas to try to learn to do what we're sending them to do. They have to be able to do it before they go." So her husband called me and said, "Nelson, I don't know who else, and we got to catch a plane. Oh, they're going to call it a boat. We got to catch a boat tomorrow night. We have to lead somebody to Christ tonight. Can you do something?" I said, "Well, I can give it a shot." So we went to the park up the street from the church, and we'd seen a lot of people in there, and I'd led a lot of people to Christ in there because there's a lot of section, whatever they call it, 8 housing, people too poor to be able to afford apartment houses. And they're all and there's so many of them in an apartment that they stay in the park most of the time. So you can go up and there's always, day or night, there's going to be somebody in the park. We went up there and I'm looking and all of a sudden I looked under this one awning and I saw 2 women and one of them's eyes looked like they were on fire. I just said, "This is where we're going." I said, "I'll walk up, I'll introduce, I'll start it, but I will not come back into the conversation unless you turn and ask me to. Other than that, I'll stay out of it." We walked up there. I explained what we were there for. I explained that she was going to be able to talk to her about it, and she led those 2 ladies to Christ. Therefore, she was able to go overseas. Therefore, they went to China. Their assignment ultimately was Wuhan, China. And they came out of there without any of their possessions were left behind. They were having to run for their life. I'm grateful to have been a part of their life. They're still members of our church.